Hello, I'm Johnny White, CEO of AACE. Thank you for joining me for another member update. Today, we're joined by Dr. Kayla Patel to chat about her role as an AACE Fellow representative. Dr. Patel, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Mr. White. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Kayla Patel. I'm currently a second year endocrinology fellow at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've had the privilege of serving as a fellow and training representative for the 2024-2025 year for ACE.
Well, tell me something. What has inspired you to apply for the AACE Fellow representative position?
Yeah, definitely. So I first, got involved with ACE actually formally in the beginning of my fellowship training. So July 2023 when I started as a fellow, but even before then in my residency, I was able to publish a systematic review through endocrine practice. So that was kind of my first introduction to the organization of ACE. But really during my first year, I was able to participate in Endocrine University year one. And that's where I really got introduced to this role of fellow in training to apply for it. I'm someone that in medicine has always kind of been interested in advocacy, policy making, guidelines, and kind of how that all happens. And throughout my training, medical school, residency, fellowship, I really hadn't seen an opportunity like this before, where you really get to be part of a board and see all these decisions being made. And so when I saw the application, I thought it kind of fit right in line with my goals and really what led me to apply for it last year during Endocrine University.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you talked about Endocrine University. We just finished our Endocrine University about 2 weeks ago. Tell me, what was your experience attending Endocrine University?
Yeah, my experience has been great. I've actually been able to participate in year one and now year two as I kind of wrap up my fellowship training now in June this year. And so when I first got introduced to Endocrine University, again, it was really the first time that I'd heard of anything like that happening. Even during my residency years as an internal medicine resident, there really weren't any platforms like that where we could really just focus on learning. Most of our fellowship programs have been really gracious and we've been excused from clinical duties to be able to participate in Endocrine University. So what that is, it's a 2.5 day program where we really on a virtual platform are able to listen to lectures from endocrinologists across the country and expertise of their field, and be able to interact with other fellows through a virtual platform. And so fellows are able to participate during their first year and then again during their second year, with the topics kind of focusing in more on what's more relevant for a first year fellow and then a second year fellow. So my experience was great, not only because you got to interact with fellows, something that we're not really able to do a lot, but also get introduced to kind of leaders in the field of endocrinology that are across the country.
Wow, well, that's good to hear. So, going back to this role of an ACE Fellow representative, how would you say it helped you grow as a leader, and how do you think it will shape your future career?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's helped tremendously. I think in, medicine, it's such a long journey. We go through medical school, residency, and then those of us that choose to pursue further training and fellowship, a lot of times, when you're a trainee, you can really feel like, where is my voice? Is my voice being heard? And that transition from trainee to attending happens really quickly. And so I feel like being a fellow and training representative, being able to be a board member and serve on the board and have your voice heard has really helped my confidence, because you're kind of treated as an equal member, your voice is heard, and you're being able to be the voice for all the fellows across the country. So it's definitely, I think, helped me with my confidence and being able to speak up, and that, our voice as a trainee definitely matters, our opinions matter. And I really appreciate ACE for kind of giving us that role to speak, to kind of listen to things that work for us that may not work for us as well. In my future career, I think it'll definitely help as I, possibly will work with trainees in the future. And so to make sure to keep that perspective in mind, kind of the further I get from training, just remembering to kind of always keep that trainee perspective as we're doing things like Endocrine University in the education realm, actually listening to what works and doesn't work for the trainee.
Right. And it's great that you're so involved in ACE. What would you recommend for other fellows in terms of getting involved in ACE committees and subcommittees?
Yeah, definitely. I think, a lot of fellows are very eager to get involved. And again, especially as fellowship is kind of our last realm of training before we head out into the attending world. A lot of times during fellowship, people are honing in on their special interests within endocrinology. And I really think ACE helps hone in on that. So one of the things that's really helpful is on the ACE website, we have the Fellows Corner. And it's really nice because as fellows, we're very busy in training. And so,
Hmm.
when things are hard to find, it gets a little bit, out of hand. But ACE makes it really easy because it's just all on one place in the website. It's called the Fellows Corner. It has all the resources of how us as fellows can get involved. So I think one of the biggest ways fellows can get involved is by joining committees and subcommittees. And that's kind of a great way to kind of dip your toe into getting involved with ACE as a bigger organization, even as we leave fellowship. And, the committees range from DEI to advocacy, education subcommittee. So there's really a niche for everyone if you're looking to get involved as a fellow.
That's great. And it's great to have these resources for the fellows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, being on the board or having this position on the board, what kind of mentorship opportunities have you had serving on the board so far?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the greatest things about being the board is I got to meet everyone in person at our first in-person meeting in the fall of 2024. So, every month I've been able to participate in different committees that I'm on. So I've been able to interact with different endocrinologists around the country. But at our in-person meeting, it's really nice to put a face to the name of people that you've been interacting with over Zoom. And everyone was very welcoming. And especially as fellows, kind of, we're ending training, we're going into the job field, we're looking at, do we want to do more, academic medicine, private practice? And so I've been able to connect with a lot of mentors that are on the boards that have a lot of different career paths and have been able to kind of give me advice as I, am leaving training soon and heading out into the real world.
Right. Well, talking about going into the real world and starting a career,
Yeah.
what resources have you found that ACE is offering fellows to advance in their careers?
Yeah, so I think, Endocrine University, I know we touched on a little bit. I think that was huge just because it does give you this platform to be able to listen to speakers from around the country. And, I will say during Endocrine University, all the speakers are very open to, providing their contact information if you reach out to them and kind of want to learn a little bit more of their path or how they got involved with ACE. One of the things that I found really helpful as a fellow, because, we're always on the go. So at Emory here, we rotate between 4 different hospitals. So we're always in the car. So the ACE podcasts have been something that I've really, really enjoyed. Just because, we're getting flooded with so much information during fellowship and just trying to learn as much as we can in our 2 to 3 years here. So the ACE podcasts are really kind of bite-sized ways that, when we're on the go and when we're busy, we can really soak in as much information as we can. So I found the ACE podcast to be very helpful. And then I found the ACE annual meetings as well. We have fellows events where we provide, mentorship, CV, resume building. And so again, a lot of great opportunities in, all different aspects of our lives that we can kind of use these resources to help advance our careers.
Well, I'd love for you to elaborate on the annual meeting. That's coming up in only a month and a half now.
I know.
It's crazy how time is flying.
Yeah.
Is flying. So give us some ideas on some specific sessions or networking events that we have that you think fellows should attend at the annual meeting.
Definitely. I definitely, want to emphasize, again, in fellowship, mentorship is huge. Networking is huge. And one of the best ways to network is always at the annual meeting. Because again, you're getting to see people in person. And, some of those people that you heard giving lectures during Endocrine University are there at the annual meeting. Almost all of them are. So it's a great way to connect. Everyone's always really open for you to go up to them, introduce yourself. So I definitely think that's a place as fellows, don't be shy. Definitely, go up, introduce yourself. In terms of sessions that I think are really helpful. So we have our fellows event, which I think is huge and definitely encourage all fellows to attend. We kind of do a little round robin. So again, doing CV building, mentorship, looking at academic medicine versus private practice, especially for the first year fellows that are, kind of finishing up and now they're kind of thinking about, where do I want my career to go? They're going to start applying for jobs. So a lot of helpful tools there at the fellow session. And we're also going to be playing kind of a Jeopardy as well to kind of go through different board topics. The other session that I think, again, is really helpful is, the welcome party. So coming in the first night, again, because I think that's a great way for you to go up and introduce yourself and network because it's kind of, before everyone kind of gets busy going to the different sessions. So I definitely think those are the two I would emphasize the fellows are really important for networking.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of those 2 programs. It gives you the opportunity to meet other fellows and then also leaders in the field. So that's
Exactly.
really
Yeah, meeting other fellows is huge too, because I think it's, fellowship is different than residency because residency, a lot of us come from big programs, and our fellowship, you go from being these big programs to all of a sudden you only have maybe 2 or 3 co-fellows. So I think these annual meetings are a great way to just meet your colleagues because they're going to be your colleagues forever in this field. And, the world of endocrine is pretty small. So it's great to meet people that are kind of going through the same thing as you as well.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. If someone wants to apply for the next ACE fellow representative position, what advice would you provide them?
I would say go for it. So, I think again, these things can sometimes seem intimidating to us, as we're in our training, being a part of a board of directors can sound a little bit intimidating, but I assure you that it's not. And again, everyone has been so welcoming, and it's such a great way to kind of launch yourself as a leader and build tools for being a leader if that's something that you're interested in. So, if, policy making guidelines, kind of seeing a little bit of the business behind medicine and how organizations run, especially for endocrinology, I would definitely encourage you to apply and get involved.
Great. So this is a question or a concern of myself and ACE in terms of, as you know, there's not enough endocrinologists out there, and really trying to figure out how we can entice individuals to go into this field. So, as we look at this next generation of endocrinology fellows, what advice would you give in terms of shaping the future of this specialty?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a very important question because you're right. There's such a need for endocrinology. I think, two things I think for that is I think us as endocrinologists, especially us as fellows that are, in this next generation of endocrinologists, I think one of the biggest things we can do is encourage the younger generation. So really starting with medical students, even people in their undergraduate, pre-medical students, and especially internal medicine residencies to kind of show them what the field of endocrinology is. I think all too often, people made box endocrinology as just being a few things, but it really encompasses so much. And your careers in endocrinology can really go in so many different directions. And so I think really kind of inspiring that younger generation of those in medical students say, hey, this is an option for you. This is a field, and this is what our life looks like, what our day-to-day looks like, and really encourage people to go into the field. The second thing I think that's really important for us as the next generation of endocrinologists is the field of endocrinology is changing so much. There's great new medications coming out. And, with that, there's always some misinformation too. And, I think endocrinology is really prevalent in social media. So I think it's our job as the next generation of endocrinologists to really not only educate our patients, but really educate society. And a lot of that is done through organizations like AACE because, even outside of our patients, there's so much information out there about the different medications we use, the different treatments we have. So really being that sounding board of evidence-based medicine, I think will really be important.
Well, the follow-up question to that is if your generation, you use technology very well. So what's your opinion on AI? Do you think that's going to help advance the field of endocrinology?
I think it definitely will help a lot. There's pros and cons with everything. So I think, working out some of the kinks, but I do think it's a huge resource that probably will be very prevalent in the field of endocrinology and something that we can hopefully use to our benefit.
Good. Well, I really appreciate the time that you've taken with us, and you've provided some great advice here. And as you know, ACE is dedicated to enhance this field of endocrinology, and we're working this year actually at the annual meeting and trying to get some medical students to come over. So I'm going to look to you to help us with that. So I'm really looking forward to working with you on that.
Yes, I'm very excited for, again, the annual meeting in Orlando and really hope to meet a lot of fellows and, like you said, even medical students out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Patel, and thank you for serving as our ACE fellow representative.
Thank you so much.